All right, guys, so first off, we've got some necessities. We've got the cheese, your choice of cheese. I thought I had more pepper jack, but we'll do. Obviously, we're gonna need our hoagie bread. Then we've got some beef here. When you choose your beef, you wanna make sure that it's got some fat content. So if you look up close, there's some good amount of fats. There's some fat going throughout the beef. And then you'll notice that they're frozen. And I'll get to that in a minute here. We're gonna need our greens. We've got our green pepper, our onion. They're already sliced up. We've got some sliced up mushrooms here. All right, so the reason for why I like to keep these frozen. I bought these yesterday, froze them overnight, and then this morning I took them out and just kind of like let them thaw a little bit. But they're still solid, right? And then you're gonna grab your mandolin, and then you're gonna set it up to your first setting or however thick you want it to be. And this is how they come out after you slice it. And when they're frozen, it actually goes through this a lot more smooth than if they were malleable. So I'll show you guys here in a minute, but I just want to show you guys how thin these slices of beef are. And these are gonna come out so tender when we go to cook it on our flat top. But yeah, let's show you guys. All right, now that these are frozen, I'll show you guys. And you'll kind of hear it, you'll hear it going through the mandolin. And be careful, you don't want to slice your fingers. Okay, so when you get that low, you don't want to risk cutting your fingers, so we're gonna set this aside and we'll just dice it up with a knife. So we'll go ahead and grab our next one. Just keep going. All right, guys, so if you don't have a mandolin, you could do this with a knife and just slice it very thinly. But using a mandolin just kind of makes the process quicker. Also, any of the big chunks of fat, you don't want to chop off any of the fat. That stuff will pretty much melt throughout the cook, and I'll show you when we get to that point. All right, so this chunk, we're gonna set that aside. We'll slice that with a knife. Don't want to cut up our fingers. Alright guys, so I actually do have this plastic attachment that's for the mandolin so that when I get to the very end pieces I could use that, but I've lost that attachment. However, we're not stuck, so now that we've gotten down close enough to where we don't want to chop our fingers using the mandolin, we could just use a knife, and then you can see when it's frozen, it slices them real thin, as long as you know. Can just kind of, there we go. Just nice and small pieces, we'll set that, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and go over to our griddle. Alright guys, so now that we're at the flat top, I'm gonna show you guys the tools of my preference. We've got our two long spatulas here for our Phillies. We've got a little squirt bottle with some vegetable oil. And then I've got some water. The reason for the water is just to see if the grill is hot enough. We just put a little, there we go. If it's sizzling, that means we are ready to cook. So on one side, I'm gonna go ahead and So we'll go ahead and start with the veggies and the onions. Go ahead and sprinkle some of that vegetable oil on there. Mix it up. I'm actually a one spatula and one of these kind of guy. All right. Let that sizzle up. Okay, normally I'd add mushrooms along with this as well. However, someone in the family is allergic to the mushrooms, so we're gonna go ahead and add mushrooms at the very end after I've made her sandwiches separate. So we'll go ahead and grab the beef. And I know you guys are like, why is he cooking so much? I'm actually feeding like a family of 6, so that's why I'm making so much. That's probably a good video to show you guys how to entertain your guests, I guess, or how to feed a whole bunch of people. All right. Just kind of spread that out. Now the grill of my preference, or the griddle I guess you would say, is I have a CampChef. This is a CampChef griddle. This is their average size one. They've got like a super huge one, and I think they have a smaller one. I want to say this is a CampChef 300. It says flat top grill on it, but I've had this thing for about 2-3 years now, and it's been solid. I can't stress enough how much I love this thing. All right. So once you can see a little bit of browning on the bottom of the beef there, go ahead and start flipping it. Oh yeah. Okay. Now we don't want to forget about the veggies, so we'll go ahead and So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move all this beef over to one side and just try to get rid of that excess moisture. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically getting a new surface nice and hot. That way when I go to flip the beef on it, it'll give it a nice sear. There we go. Okay. Now, although we already chopped it nice and thinly, we could still give it more, slice it up some more. There's nothing wrong with that. I personally like the beef nice and like very thin. Almost to where it's like messy in a way. Now I did forget, usually I like to add some seasoning salt. So what I have here is just some, nothing fancy, just some seasonal Morton salt. You can grab this from like Sam's Club or your local grocery store. I'm just gonna sprinkle it generously on our beef here, and put some on our veggies. There's two factors that add flavor to our dish today. It's obviously you're gonna have the grilled onions, the juices from the grilled onions. We're gonna combine them together, and then we've got the salt, the seasoning salt, and then a big factor is our griddle here. I hardly ever clean this thing with like soap and all that. I use it a lot, and every time I use it, I basically I'll fire it up, wait till it gets nice and hot, put a nice layer of oil on there, and that's basically how you clean it. Is you basically just wipe it down, scrape all the debris off of it, all the grease, and you're ready for your next cook. That's how you season these bad boys. All right. Now that a majority of the beef is pretty much brown, we're gonna go ahead and combine our veggies here. We're gonna just go ahead and mix that seasoning in. All right. So now we're gonna go ahead and combine our veggies. Once those green peppers and onions kind of sweat a little bit, those juices from the veggies will combine with the beef, and it'll add some good flavor here. And then I'll go ahead and dice it up some more as I'm spreading out the beef. I kind of like to dice up the veggies. Now that they're nice and warm and hot, they'll slice real easily. The onions, the green peppers. By the way, the heat setting on here, I've got all my burners set up to high. It is cold outside, that's why I'm doing this indoors. It's about like 20 degrees outside. I've got a fairly spacious pole barn, or garage, whatever you want to call it. And I've got a door cracked open to kind of let some of the smoke out. We'll be fine. Don't do this at home, unless you really want a good Philly. Now, I know some of you guys might be getting upset with me because I'm calling this a Philly or a cheesesteak. I don't know what to classify it as other than a really good sandwich. So, people say it depends on the combination of the veggies with the cheese and the meat. Some people say if it's just meat and cheese, then that's one thing. But to me, honestly, if it tastes good, that's how I like it. That's all I care about. I'm not gonna argue with whether it's a Philly or a cheesesteak hoagie. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and set one of the burners to low and the one right next to it to medium. We're just gonna move this whole pile over here. And I'm gonna start building our Phillies. All right, we'll go ahead and set all of them to medium. How about that? All right, except for this one. This one's still on low. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and separate them into small portions here. So, and be sure to keep flipping this, that way the bottom doesn't burn. So we'll go ahead and set enough for one sandwich right there. Now I like to load my Phillies, so it's okay to kind of overdo it, because I'll show you what we do afterwards. So we'll make these 3 without mushrooms. I still haven't forgotten our mushrooms. Mushrooms are my favorite. And these, so we're gonna go ahead and add some cheese to it. What I like to do is, if you got square pieces of cheese, put them in half like that, put them like that, and then put the piece of bread on it. And what that does is it basically steams the bun, while at the same time, it's melting the cheese. Put it back here. Voila. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that cheese is practically melting pretty good there. So we'll go ahead and add a bun there. Add a bun right there. All right, now all we're gonna do is pick it up like that. Grab the meat. It's okay if there's some debris left. That'll just be for the next one. Set that there. Ooh, that's hot. There. Voila. And then you could add more cheese to it afterwards if you want. But that should be a good amount of cheese. We're gonna go to slice through it and get that money shot of it. Slicing through and the cheese and all that, you'll see. All right, now before this all burns up, let's add our mushrooms real quick. Okay. I love mushrooms, guys. Where's our veggies? Oil. A little bit there. Okay. Alright, so we'll let that cook here for a little bit. Spread it out so most of it gets on the surface. And on this, gotta make sure we flip this so it doesn't burn. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and just combine the whole thing. The hot steam from the meat should cook the mushrooms as well. Ooh, that is looking good. If only you guys could smell this. Okay, let's go ahead and do some more. So we'll grab some, put that there. This whole combination of meat, cheese, and the bun, what it's doing is you're steaming up the bun, getting it nice and warm. You got the cheese melting, and yeah. Give it a flip, 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 flip. There we go. All right, guys, so while we're waiting for these two to just steam the bun and melt the cheese, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up with foil and take it inside and we'll grub. Hopefully we can get a money shot with one of these. That's when we cut it in half and get the cheese pull. All right, guys, so we will see you inside. All right, guys, and here is the final product. I like to eat my Philly with a side of potato chips. And what I have here on the Philly is some pickled chili paste. You could get this from your local grocery store. It goes great with these type of sandwiches. So let's see. We'll go ahead and split it apart. Nice and cheesy. Go ahead and grab a bite out of that. Oh yeah, that's real good. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Please let me know if this is a Philly cheesesteak or a hoagie. Feel free to comment down below. Sorry, it's too good. My mouth is full. But yeah, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you try this out and if it worked out for you. Now, if you don't have a griddle, you can go ahead and use a cast iron skillet on your stove or just a regular pan. Works just the same way. I just love cooking on my griddle. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.